Hello there, the angel from my nightmare. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Slowly trying to regain parts of my sanity after my football club, Chelsea Football Club, pushes me to the brink of insanity and despair. But I'm strong, ladies and gentlemen, and you can be too. We're going to navigate these turbulent and frightening and unsettling times together, and it's going to be okay. I truly believe, and I'll tell you why I believe. Because in our new ownership model, sometimes misguided, but unquestionably ambitious, I believe we will find success. Now, it's difficult to see in these turgid times, but certain pieces of evidence is there. Of course, we have the heavy capital investment of Clear Lake Capital. Not here to take money out for a long time, only to put it in. We've got the face of the club, Todd Boehly, who has successfully transformed a sports team in the LA Dodgers and made them a behemoth winning machine. His ethos is winning. Of course, right now, we are not winning. They view that as teething issues, growing pains, a need of calibration in the start of their long and hopefully they're thinking successful journey, where they've had to do a big, here comes that word, transition. A whole new load of players from different cultures and countries and leagues. Lots of new shit, basically. Excuse my swearing. Basically, we've lost to Southampton. I did a post-match press yesterday. Everybody, well, a lot of people want Graham Potter out. And I kind of understand, because even if you're, you think you're forward-thinking and you want to try and finally accept a process and infrastructure at Chelsea, which we've been sorely lacking for many a year, there is a time where you have to say, despite all that, we remain Chelsea Football Club. And I don't think that will ever stop being that. I think there's just a danger of a prolonged period of underperforming. Today, we're going to talk about where we are with Graham Potter. I'm going to put the microphone down. What this scenario is, I'm going to give you updates from Fabrizio Romano and The Athletic. So thank you for joining me. It's going to be an emotional one. Please do consider liking the video. Subscribe if you want to. You're welcome to. Hey, you don't even need to be a Chelsea fan. You just need to be a nice, respectful viewer. So, deep breath. Let's get into it. Starting off by The Athletic staff on The Athletic. Graham Potter. Before I do this, I like Graham Potter. I like how he hones his emotions. I will die on this hill. I think he's a good coach. But I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And I see people dropping like flies in his support, understandably, honestly, worryingly. I have absolutely, let me make this very clear, absolutely no criticism to those of you who have lost patience. I dig it. I'm down. I'm not calling for him to leave because I don't see any benefit of that. Bringing in someone else into this chaotic, scenario, even if there's a fleeting change in the view of the ownership, all their investment infrastructure for this candidate will be wasted, unless, of course, you get someone in very similar to Potter who will plug and play and adapt into the really wide scope project that's appropriate for that, which is few and far between, lest we forget, as that's one of the reasons why Tuchel went. I digress. Let's read this. Graham Potter is adamant he is, quote, not the problem at Chelsea, despite admitting the home defeat against Southampton was a step back. he's not the only problem, and I didn't think he was the problem at all prior. Like the Dortmund game, I think we performed well. If you watch my reflection on that, I was like, he can't score the goals. I believe I called the video, Graham Potter can't score the goals or something. You know, Chelsea were like pushing well over 2xG. I know it's so lame when people say this, but he coached a 3-0 win and ended up losing 1-0. They were his vibes there, but yesterday, there's no way this man can escape criticism for yesterday, even with Southampton just stepping up out of nowhere. Chelsea slumped to a 1-0 defeat against the Premier League's bottom side at home. A third Stamford Bridge defeat in 6 games and stretched their winless run in the league to 4 matches. Some of the supporters booed at the end of an 8th game in 13 with their expensively assembled side, which we failed to score. But Potter was bullish about the management credentials afterwards. He said, a 1-0 defeat at home, any criticism you get is understandable. The Brian boss said, of course, we were undone by a James Ward-Prowse free kick. We've had a tough period, true. We've had lots of challenges, yes, true. Integrating young players into the Premier League, fine. Whilst results don't go your way, it can be tough. I'm sure people out there who will think I am the problem. I don't think they are right. Of course, he's going to say, imagine he's like, they're going to think I'm the problem. I think I am. He's not going to say that. I am not arrogant enough to say their opinion isn't worth articulating. My job is to help them keeping working through a tough period. The truth is, we took a step back in our performance in the first half. The response in the second half was good, but not good enough. I don't want to freaking hear that, dude. I mean, it is true. Saves and chances cleared off the line, but I don't give a ruddy so-and-so. I don't care about that anymore. If this was a one-off, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. You know, we just beat Dortmund 3-0. We did beat Dortmund 3-0. We come up against Southampton with this new coach and they rallied, they're fighting for relegation. They somehow win that game 1-0 like they did. You'd be like, that sucks. It's so Chelsea. There's always episodes of Chelsea, but whatever. But not now. When we've lost 1-0 at home to Southampton, with the greatest respect to them, it isn't good enough. Truth. The first half was as much as my responsibility as anybody's. I thought the performance wasn't good. Fine. Agreed, mate. I thought the second half performance was better, but we deserved to score. If we score, the game changes. But 1-0 isn't good, and we're disappointed with that. He also confirmed, thankfully, that Cesar Azpilicueta is in hospital. He's conscious. He's talking to his wife on the phone, and that's obviously the most important thing for me out of that game, is the well-being and health of the Chelsea captain. So again, like in yesterday's video, I'd like to echo the sentiment. Best wishes to Cesar Azpilicueta. Football therapy, breathing in and getting all zen and meditative. Right, jumping over to Cy Phillips' news website, citing Fabrizio Romano. Where are Chelsea bored with Graham Potter right now? Chelsea had an embarrassing defeat at home to the bottom of the league side Southampton in the Premier League yesterday, and patience amongst Chelsea fans is pretty much out. Many of them had understood that things will take time and the club are in a transitional period. However, losing that game yesterday and not even scoring 1 goal has led to many fans say that there's just simply no excuses anymore. Many are saying Graham Potter should be sacked right away, but transfer expert Fabrizio Romano disagrees, writing in his exclusive Call Offside column, Daily Briefing. Yeah. Romano speaks about the new factors and changes at the club and how it needs time, which many of the fans had been saying before yesterday, including myself. But he also says the club are still backing Potter right now and are protecting him, so fans might just have to continue to grin and bear it. Also, Matt Law of the Telegraph, who is also well connected to Chelsea Football Club, has echoed these sentiments that the owner's stance on Graham Potter has not changed. Romano speaks about all the factors and changes at the club and how it needs time. which is what many fans have been saying before. I've read that. I'm losing my mind. Personally, I think Chelsea's situation is bad for sure, but it's not that surprising, says Fabrizio Romano. If you bring in many new players from different leagues in January, they need time to adapt to the league, country, life, tactics. It's not that easy. These moves usually happen in the summer with 2 months pre-season, not in January when you play every 3 days. At the moment, Chelsea will keep protecting Potter. Yeah. But, yes, I don't know, man. Like, we were keeping clean sheets. We're not conceding a lot of goals. It's just... scoring... Is it tactics? Scoring the goal? The thing is, like... I've always protected Chelsea managers when players can't friggin' score. When you generate a lot of XG, you have the ball, you're passing around the net, and they're just hitting the crossbar. They're putting in the keeper's hands. They're skying it over the... they're putting it wide. That's not up... Is that up to the gaffer? I don't think it is. Who's like... Maurizio Sarri, Graham Potter, Thomas Tuchel, maybe Frank Lampard because he was an amazing goal scorer, but all those guys, and Mourinho, who are they to tell you how to finish a move and how to finish into the goal? Do you know what I mean? It's not, they don't do that. So I always have sympathy for that. But there is a mentality problem here. It's a collective confidence failure. And that's why I was so happy when we hired a specialist in Gilbert Enoka to try and... he's got his freaking work cut out from any. Watching that, I know he's on like a small a small short-term contract. But he'll be like, look, boys, I'm going to need more than however the time we booked in because this is tragic. This is real bad. The winning mentality. And I know he's got a no kids policy, and I don't think that anyone is behaving like that. I just think they're behaving like... I'm not going to swear. Anyway, look, let's talk about this. They're not going to sack Graham Potter, not unless they're genuinely threatened with relegation, which would be put their whole project under threat. I think internally they have accepted no Champions League. And they probably have the accountants preparing for that. One would assume. We got good players, ladies and gentlemen. I'm fine with the squad. I'm delighted with the squad. We've bought excellent players that should be able to play football. Graham Potter got Brighton to 4th in the Premier League, scoring loads of goals towards the end before he came to Chelsea. You got De Zerbi rocking up at Brighton, just praising Graham Potter, saying the reason why I can make them play well is because they've been coached in this position by Graham Potter. He made a note of saying that on multiple occasions. And of course the opposite is true at Chelsea when it's just a crap show. Like, we were so bad when Tuchel left us. Yes, Tuchel's amazing. I love Tuchel. He's passionate. He's excellent coach. He won the Champions League. I love him for that. But we were crap when he left. And the truth is, we've got the owners we've got. I wanted them. Many of you wanted them. The alternatives were really bad. And these guys are constantly listening to the fans. They're spending a lot of money. So happy with the owners. We have to be. Because that's what we got in terms of the alternatives. This was the one we wanted. We got it. Ding, ding, ding. Right? We have to be pragmatic, be objective. That is simply where we're at. So we got that. Tuchel was underperforming, not doing well. They wanted an appropriate candidate that they see fit to work their massive plan with their new implemented infrastructure, and they saw Potter as that. Many people were gassed, including myself. We went 9 unbeaten immediately. He doesn't lose his temper, which is probably good, even if people don't like it, but you know my stance on that. I'm actually endorse that, and I subscribe to that being the better approach. But man, when are we going to score? I just need to score a goal. The reason why football's so big as a product, as, whatever football is, a way of life, is because a man kicks a ball into a football net. Eventually that has to happen for Chelsea Football Club. And it's not even about we've spent 600 million and all these attacking players. It's not about that. It's just about this collective psychological failing, this collective confidence failing. You know, you can see players like Enzo and Felix come in and just rise above the stinky poor confidence swamp. And like, you know, play a ball and score and look really good and just take it into their own hands. But they're slowly, and maybe not slowly, maybe very quickly, going to be dragged down into the swamp. And they'll be like, oh, I'm drowning. I came in really confident like the man, and now I'm calibrating to the frequency of these losers. Look, I'm being a bit silly. Or am I? I'm going to end the video there. I have no solutions for you. I'm not going to say, oh, get Luis Enrique, get Hansi Flick the Germany job. I don't even know if he speaks English, to be honest. Don't even know if Luis Enrique speaks English. And no, I do not endorse the third return or the third spell of Jose Mourinho. That is completely the opposite. That's like bringing in Ronaldo. When Todd Bowley wanted to bring in Ronaldo, it's the equivalent of that. I think we're going to be all right. Eventually. Please give me your sweet interactions. Your likes, your comments, and your subs. Pump me full of dopamine. Look after yourselves. Love you. Goodbye.